Okay, so this is the third video, and I am afraid, I don't like to say this, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to do this one without playing the music. I'm not sure why, but I'm getting a copyright infringement problem out of YouTube, which means that one of the songs that I included, they identified as being that we're in violation of copyright, whatever. So I can't solve that problem right now. But what I can do is give you the information related to this material. So we're picking up with Higher and Higher, great song by Jack Wilson. So if you can download Spotify and follow me on Spotify, we talked about this in class, and um, go to R&R Chapter 7, Jackie Wilson, Higher and Higher, great song. He's one of the great rhythm and blues vocalists in the very much in the family of Sam Cooke and Otis Redding. Great singer. And in addition, then, one of the things we talked about from day one in this class is how rock and roll is not a single kind of music so much as it is the amalgamation of other kinds of music that preceded it: country, jazz, folk, uh, gospel, and more than any other, single type blues. The Yardbirds, a great band, part of the British invasion, very blues oriented, a lot of blues connections, and their song For Your Love, although it has a straight up rock beat, very strong blues influence that the band uses there. And then after the Yardbirds, you hear the Rolling Stones. And with the possible exception of Led Zeppelin, no other band in rock history has as direct a connection to the blues as the Stones. Paint It Black, great song, huge hit record in late 65, early 66, and became one of their all-time classics. And it just reinforces the blues dynamics that the Stones were famous for. All right, and then the last four songs are all Beatles records from the Rubber Soul album. Now, we talked about singles and albums. Singles are the 7-inch with song on one side, song on the other side. And the albums are 12-inch that have 4, 5, 6 songs on a single side, 4, 5, 6 songs on the other. Albums, up until Rubber Soul was released in December of 65, albums had become devices to basically get more money out of people and to take the singles, 2 or 3 singles that had been hits on the radio, and put them in one place. And they would use other songs that were not, quite frankly, good enough to make it on the radio, and they would fill in the blanks with those songs. And that music became known as fillers. And quite often these bands would then record songs that had become famous by other people, and they would basically redo them. So albums had never been they had never made a very substantial contribution to the art form. But the Beatles changed the landscape when they landed here in 64. But by mid 65, they'd done it. They'd had, I think, 7 or 8 or 9, I don't even remember, number one records in the course of that 15-month period. And they were on top of the game. They could do what they wanted. And they really wanted to put out an album that had a singular constancy to it. It wasn't that it only had one idea or one rhythm or one sort of style of music, but it was about putting out an album that was comprised of songs that would render the whole bigger than the sum of the parts. So it was put out to be a piece of art. That had never been done before, and it would inspire so many acts that came after them. and quite frankly, they would inspire themselves. Now, Rubber Soul, again, came out in December 65. It was a huge hit album. It is still 6 decades later widely regarded as one of the greatest albums in rock history. It's my favorite Beatles album because it does what no other album does, which is it really connects the early Beatles, because you hear songs and you hear rhythms that you can hear I Want to Hold Your Hand, you can hear Twist and Shout, but it connects it to the music that would come later, the stuff that they would investigate on Revolver and the White Album even, and certainly Sgt. Pepper's. So to be the connection between these two chapters of the greatest band in rock history, this album was extraordinary. So I chose Drive My Car, Nowhere Man, The Word, and In My Life as musical selections from it. And I hope you do log into Spotify and listen to the music. Um, it's really going to heighten it. But the key thing with Rubber Soul, A, you should listen to the whole thing this summer sometime. So there's that. But the key thing with Rubber Soul is that it was the first time that in rock history that a band specifically put out an album with the sole intention of making a piece of art. And they succeeded big time. And I hope you listen and I hope you enjoy it. And that's it for now.